and then he just needs a beat down, needs humbling. And instead of eating cheeseburgers, I'm going to feed him some humble pie.
It's something that we took very seriously and something that a lot of work has gone into, and obviously it hasn't been resolved. And
so here's what just went down that's got everyone talking. Anthony Joshua just dropped serious legal papers on Jake Paul over his role in that crash situation. This news is sending waves through boxing like nothing we've seen in years. Joshua's done with the reckless nonsense and attention-seeking behavior that's been allowed to slide for way too long, and he's making it clear that being accountable actually means something in this game. While Jake Paul gets to mess around without facing real heat, Anthony Joshua deals with legitimate threats and serious duties every single time he shows up, demonstrating to everyone what actual responsibility looks like in professional boxing. This goes way beyond some online back and forth or social media noise. This is real legal business that shows Joshua's finished tolerating people who see boxing as just another way to make viral content for their platform.
Oh, he's this, he's that, he's that. I said, but why are you worrying about what someone else has done? What have you done as a fighter to kind of boost your ego?
Eddie Hearn backing the legal move is massive because it demonstrates Joshua's taking the proper route to make Jake Paul answer for his actions through official channels instead of just running his mouth online like everyone else. This situation isn't about manufacturing beef or farming engagement. It's about real accountability and ensuring there are actual consequences when reckless choices put lives on the line. The Paul brothers keep cashing in drama and chaos, acting like everything's just another chance to go viral. Joshua's working within the system correctly to make sure justice happens, showing that being professional and disciplined goes way beyond what goes down between the ropes. This separates legitimate champions from social media stars playing pretend fighter, and that difference is crystal clear to everyone watching, paying attention.
and he wouldn't do so. So we filed a lawsuit against him, and we'll leave it in the hands of the lawyers.
Carl Froch
This whole mess perfectly shows the complete disorder that follows Jake Paul everywhere he goes. Paul's about to learn that Anthony Joshua isn't messing around with silly online drama or petty feuds. Going the lawsuit route is Joshua's method of handling business properly, demonstrating the huge gap between authentic champions who earn their spot through sacrifice and dedication versus online personalities who think throwing money at boxing makes them real fighters. This reality check was bound to happen for Paul, and it's coming from someone who actually gets respect in the boxing world. Joshua choosing legal action over tweet battles shows a seriousness level that should wake everyone up to what's actually going down here.
You do. I'm not even arse, man. I can't be arsed with this bullshit anymore, this clown world. It's a joke shop. It's just a big fucking...
This situation is completely wild. Logan Paul's trying to crack jokes about everything, but his comedy attempts just show how careless and risky Jake Paul's been with his choices and the crazy environment he builds around himself. Anthony Joshua barely made it through a potentially deadly situation that happened because of all the chaos and carelessness that comes with Paul's stunts and the toxic atmosphere these guys create for views. The Paul brothers are laughing and treating everything like entertainment for their channels, while Anthony Joshua faced life-threatening situations that could have destroyed his career or killed him. This legal action should have happened ages ago, and it's proving to everyone that choices have real outcomes and that performers who see boxing as a game will finally pay for the harm they've caused. The time of escaping consequences just because you've got millions of followers is over, especially when it comes to Joshua's patience running out.
It is, what was it, about an hour ago, so I guess everything's calmed down a little bit. I thought it was a bitch move, if I'm honest, because anytime an attack like that is like...
This was planned. Eddie Hearn calls out the deliberate carelessness that's been driving Jake Paul's behavior this entire time, and once you really examine it, the pattern becomes obvious. Anthony Joshua didn't just make it through some random incident that could hit anyone. He survived something that was basically set up by the toxic environment and chaotic situation that Paul intentionally built and keeps feeding. This reveals the core difference between legitimate fighters who respect boxing and understand its dangers versus internet performers who see boxing as just another shot at viral moments and view counts. Joshua's lawsuit response shows he's got the discipline and accountability that Jake Paul has never shown once in his whole career, something Jake Paul's going to discover the hard way now that lawyers are involved and he can't just brush it off or drop a response video. Everyone can finally see what's really behind all the chaos and fake drama and understand why Anthony Joshua earns complete respect, not just as a boxer, but as someone who takes responsibility seriously and won't put up with carelessness that risks people's lives.
As AJ said, and everybody knows, he's not a real boxer. There's levels to this game, and he was way out of his level, way out of his depth.
Duke McKenzie breaks down Jake Paul's weaknesses perfectly, slicing through all the marketing and promotional garbage to show what's really happening. Anthony Joshua survived a legitimately deadly scenario that could have ended in tragedy, while Paul stays basically a content maker pretending to be a fighter, buying credibility with cash and promotion instead of earning it through real competition. This incident reveals the actual price of being careless, and what happens when people see boxing as just entertainment without grasping the serious risks involved. Anthony Joshua proves that real fighters face actual consequences and understand how heavy their actions are, while Paul feeds off fake chaos and social media fame without ever meeting genuine accountability. The lawsuit's gonna teach him that acting dangerous and actually being a legitimate fighter are totally different things, and it's gonna humble his ego in ways that Twitter beef or YouTube drama never could. This is reality finally catching up to someone who's been running from it way too long.
He didn't do anything for his career, for his bank account, everything, for his development. I don't think he did anything for his development because he didn't have somebody in front of him that wanted to test his development.
Johnny Nelson exposes the basic hollowness of Jake Paul's career decisions and promotional games, while Joshua dealt with actual life or death situations that put everything into focus. Paul gets nothing except ego trips and social media buzz from his fake controversies and hand-picked opponents, while real fighters gamble everything each time they enter the ring. The crash wasn't some random accident that came out of nowhere. It was a direct result of the careless environment and reckless situation that Paul purposely created for attention and content. Anthony Joshua's demonstrating to everyone exactly how to handle things correctly with professionalism, accountability, and real legal action instead of just swapping insults online or dropping diss tracks. Everyone now sees clearly who actually respects boxing and handles it with the seriousness it needs versus who treats it like a circus designed to create clicks and drama. The Paul brothers' games and their whole boxing approach finally have real consequences connected to them, and it's past time someone with Joshua's status and legitimacy made them answer for it.
I mean,
that's bonkers. Thank God he didn't have a seatbelt on. I never say that. Thank God he didn't have a fucking seatbelt on, because if he did,
there's no way.
He would be dead.
Seriously injured, or worse. Joe Rogan stresses just how close Anthony Joshua actually got to dying in this situation, and when you hear what happened, it's scary to imagine what could have gone down. This wasn't just luck or chance that kept him alive, it was dealing with the aftermath of chaos and carelessness that Jake Paul directly caused through his actions and the environment he builds. Paul's games and his whole boxing approach put real lives at risk, while he laughs from the sidelines counting his cash, treating everything like another episode in his content series. Anthony Joshua made it through against tough odds, and now he's taking strong action through the courts, showing everyone that accountability actually counts and that there are boundaries to what behavior gets tolerated. The lawsuit isn't just about money or payouts, it's a strong statement that reckless behavior, clout chasing, and fake tough talk in boxing won't be accepted anymore by people who actually care about the sport's integrity. This is Joshua making his stand and telling the circus atmosphere that's been growing around boxing, thanks to social media stars treating it like content, that enough is enough.
They're hustlers. They're just trying to be smart. So for AJ, this is about AJ, how he deals with it. He's got to stay focused, on point. Respect Jake Paul as though he's on the same level as him.
Johnny Nelson gets it completely right when he points out that everyone who understands real boxing knows that Anthony Joshua operates in a completely different class compared to Jake Paul. Jake Paul gets hyped up by his own delusions and his fan army who don't get real boxing, not by actual talent, preparation, or legitimate wins against quality fighters. The Paul brothers cash in on clout and fake chaos, but real boxing has always been about discipline, dedication, years of grinding, and facing real consequences, things that Anthony Joshua shows every every single day. Filing the lawsuit proves that Joshua won't accept carelessness and dangerous behavior anymore, setting a clear boundary that can't be crossed without payback. Everyone sees clearly now who actually earns respect in this sport. A champion who survives real danger and actively guards his legacy in the sport's integrity versus an internet entertainer feeding off nonsense and fake controversy. The Paul brothers are finally being made to face the reality of their actions and the consequences of treating boxing like another social media platform. And Anthony Joshua's response is firm, fair, and totally decisive in a way that can't be ignored or dismissed.
We don't know. As with all these things, there's always a grey area, isn't there? But you know.
Adam Smith mentions that some boxing controversies and promotional tactics exist in gray areas, but Anthony Joshua makes it totally clear that some things completely cross the line, and Jake Paul's carelessness did exactly that without any doubt. This lawsuit isn't about some arguable situation or personal interpretation of events. It's about clear accountability for actions that risked lives. Everyone's finally seeing the difference between a real fighter who's earned every piece of his reputation through years of dedication versus a clout-chasing amateur who bought his way into boxing with YouTube money and social media followers. Joshua survived real danger while Paul laughed about it and probably figured out how to make money off the controversy, and now he's showing everyone that actions have serious consequences that go beyond social media drama. This sends a powerful message that ego and chaos don't go unpunished when real lives are at stake, and when someone with Joshua's reputation decides to take action, Anthony Joshua proves that integrity and responsibility beat fake tough talk every single time, and that there's a basic difference between being famous and being respected in the boxing world.
What happened, obviously it's a tragic incident. 2 people have lost their lives. It's a horrific moment. I thought the reporting of it yesterday, I've read and obviously got in contact with his management team straight away. I thought the reporting of it was responsible, not speculative.
Gareth Davies points out the tragedy of the situation and the responsible reporting that shows the real seriousness of what Anthony Joshua survived and had to go through. Unlike the Paul brothers who feed on exaggeration, fake drama, and chaos that they build for views and engagement, Joshua dealt with real loss and genuine danger that could have ended his life or career forever. The difference between these two approaches to boxing couldn't be more obvious if you tried to plan it that way. One side respects life, truth, and the serious nature of the sport, while the other exploits every situation for content, clicks, and social media relevance without caring about consequences. Filing a lawsuit backs up the idea that accountability counts and sends a totally clear message that reckless games in boxing have real consequences beyond bad press or social media hate. Everyone now sees Joshua as a champion in every way, both in the ring and out of it. Someone who handles tragedy with integrity, dignity, and proper legal action, while performers profit from chaos without ever facing real responsibility for the damage they caused.
In AJ's life. And it's so crazy to think that over a week and a half ago, he was on top of the world. Apparently he'd pocketed $92 million from his Jake Paul fight. The American audience was in love with him. His star was bigger than ever. And then just yesterday, we see footage like this of AJ being pulled from the wreckage in a situation where if he'd just sat on the other side of the car, they wouldn't have been pulling him out alive. There's no...
The pain game. The situation highlights the harsh difference between fame and actual survival, between social media popularity and real-world consequences that can't be solved with a good publicist. Anthony Joshua went from earning a huge payday and being on top of everything to literally fighting for his life, all because of the carelessness surrounding the Paul brothers and the dangerous environment they create. While Jake Paul enjoys hype, promotional chances, and social media engagement, Joshua deals with consequences that Paul can't even start to understand because he's never faced anything close to this serious. This incident shows who truly faces danger in boxing and who actually earns respect through their actions and character, not just through promotional tactics and social media followers. Filing the lawsuit proves that Joshua makes people answer for their actions, showing everyone that real champions protect their lives and legacy with more than just tough talk and social media posts. The Paul brothers feed on spectacle and fake controversy, but Joshua thrives on discipline, courage, and justice, taking real action through proper channels. Everyone sees clearly now the difference between fake tough talk and real fighter mentality, between someone playing a role for content and someone who actually lives the life of a professional athlete with all its risks.
Responsibility. To really be there for them and the family, anything they need. You know, sometimes when someone is a star, they have a lot of things in their life taken care for them. So you really have to move into that mode in this situation as well. Make sure obviously they're getting the best medical attention, make sure their family are safe and
Eddie Hearn highlights Anthony Joshua's humanity and sense of responsibility, which really makes him stand out in this whole situation. Unlike Jake Paul, who feeds on clout and chaos while treating everything like content for his next video, Joshua makes sure that those affected by tragedy get properly supported and protected in real ways. This goes beyond boxing or promotional tactics. It's about character, integrity, and accountability in action, showing who someone really is when things get serious. The lawsuit proves that carelessness has consequences that go beyond social media hate or bad publicity. There are real legal and financial consequences for creating dangerous situations. Everyone sees Joshua as a true champion who values people over publicity and substance over social media engagement, someone who takes action when it matters instead of just talking. The Paul brothers' games are exposed as shallow and empty, while Joshua proves that real strength lies in courage, care, and making sure justice actually happens both in the ring where he fights and in life where he has to deal with the consequences of other people's reckless behavior.
This is an unbelievable loss. Sinna and Latif are two incredible people who are not only part of AJ's team, but also friends. My sincere condolences to their families, loved ones, and everyone who knew them. Anthony Joshua, wishing you a speedy recovery. Stay strong, champion.
Alexander makes clear the tragic human cost behind Anthony Joshua's recent situation, and when you really understand what went down, it becomes even more powerful. Two loyal friends who were part of his crew lost their lives in this situation, and Joshua survived against all odds when things could have easily gone the other way. This reminds everyone of the real dangers that Jake Paul's reckless actions indirectly cause through the chaos and atmosphere he creates. Dangers that go way beyond hurt feelings or social media beef. While the Paul brothers feed on hype, chaos, and clout, treating everything like just another chance for content and engagement, Joshua faces life and death consequences with dignity and courage that most people couldn't handle under that kind of pressure. Filing the lawsuit is a bold move that not only protects his legacy and reputation, but sends a strong message that reckless actions have real consequences that affect real people. Everyone now sees the difference between a true champion who values life, loyalty, and accountability above everything else, versus internet performers who profit from drama without ever facing the real-world impact of their behavior and the environment they create. Anthony Joshua's strength and leadership show through every statement he makes and every action he takes, proving why he's respected not just as a fighter but as a person. The reports about Anthony Joshua's crash show how close he actually came to serious injury, including potential brain damage that could have ended his career and changed his life forever. This isn't some boxing storyline created for promotion or social media engagement. It's reality, and it was made worse by the reckless environment that Jake Paul feeds on and purposely creates for attention. The Paul brothers profit from chaos, posting clips and memes and treating everything like content while someone's life literally hangs in the balance. Anthony Joshua's survival highlights his courage, awareness, and discipline, standing in sharp contrast to the surface-level tough talk of the Paul brothers, who've never faced anything close to this serious. Filing a lawsuit shows that Joshua won't allow carelessness to go unpunished or unchallenged, proving to everyone that accountability matters as much as skill in the ring, maybe even more. The crash has made people recognize Joshua's strength outside the ring as well, showing how he handles grief, loss, and legal action while keeping professionalism and dignity that most people couldn't maintain. The Paul brothers are finally facing the consequences of their carelessness and the dangerous atmosphere they've created, and they're learning that there are some people who won't just let things slide to avoid drama.
A little bit days water, he could get seriously hurt. I don't believe Josh would have. I believe Josh might have some
Tony Bellew perfectly captures the seriousness of what Anthony Joshua went through during this entire situation. Being close to serious injury isn't a stunt or promotional tactic. It's genuinely life-threatening, something that Jake Paul's reckless games indirectly cause through his actions and the chaos he creates. While the Paul brothers focus on ego, hype, and social media clout, treating boxing like just another platform for content creation. Anthony Joshua navigates real danger with courage and composure that comes from years of professional experience and genuine character. His compassion, strength, and clarity under pressure set him apart from clout-chasing entertainers who've never faced real consequences for their actions. Filing a lawsuit ensures that responsibility gets enforced and that there are actual consequences for creating dangerous situations, showing that Joshua is serious about accountability. Everyone has now witnessed the stark contrast. A true champion confronts consequences head-on and values life and integrity above social media metrics and engagement, while the Paul brothers exploit situations for fame without any real accountability or understanding of the damage they cause. Joshua's strength outside the ring is as impressive as his power inside it, and this incident will define his legacy as a fighter who commands respect beyond boxing, someone who stands up for what's right regardless of the consequences or backlash.